Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe. Cantu's on my right. Stebby is on the left. Boys, it's been a long time. We had a break, obviously, because of the All-Star Week. Angel, you were covering the All-Star festivities over there in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. But the whole gang is all here. Steban, before we get to Angel, how was your weekend? How was everything? How was the whole, I guess, the little break that we had?
It was a good little break. Got to see all the All Star festivities and stuff, and got to get my fat ass back in the gym to get back in shape. Got to get rid of this dad bod because everybody's always asking me. All my friends having kids, like, hey, when you're next with the kids? So they're like, you already got the dad bod. So I was like, man, I got to get rid of this crap. But man, just chilling, bro. And this weekend, just tortured myself. Really stayed in the gym. Try to stay away from drinking, but watch the UFC fights too. I didn't get to watch the boxing ones, but I don't really care for the boxing ones. But it was a chill weekend.
I like how you said you're just torturing yourself. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not torturing, baby. We in the gym, we getting everything going.
The lab.
The lab.
And then especially with like all these Astros injuries, I had to hop in the gym just in case I got to go try out.
that one's a good one. Hey, but them fights were nice. UFC, of course, Max Holloway. That was their third fight and Holloway's last and final one. Which that I don't know if you saw the last seconds of the fight in the final round. They both kind of slapped gloves and like kind of like pointed on the ground. I think Holloway did that, and he's like, "Right here, right now, we're gonna just end it. Just go at it."
Teed off.
Holloway did it, but what you call it? Homeboy didn't like kind of wanted to back off, wanted to hug him.
Yeah,
hey man, that boy's trying to give it all.
Hey, last time in your ring, you gotta let it go all out. You gonna catch me swinging goofy with it.
Of course, and then I don't know if y'all saw that Pacquiao fight. Manny still got it. Manny Pacquiao still got it, dude. Like it's insane.
I'm sure he can knock all of us out. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey.
Oh, like if three of us would try to fight him in once, we probably would have KO. Honestly,
yeah. Barbecue chicken.
Cantu, how was your weekend? How was the All-Star Week, man? I know that was very fun.
That was great.
He's out there, bro.
Busy. Yeah, busy, exhausted at the end of it, but it was a great experience. It was great being able to be there for the home run derby, talk to the futures players. I think that was my favorite part of it, like journalistic wise, being able to talk to, like, for example, Alan Bersanta. Made a connection there. I even gave him my phone so he can write his parents' names for a story, so like that. Willingly to get Arskin also made a connection, with a Mariners prospect. Our boss got his number, his dad's number. Like, what a great story on that. But just being able to, be around all the All-Star game facilities was pretty great, and got a pretty cool souvenir too.
Oh yeah, how about you tell everybody about that souvenir, which was that when you told me this, I was like, there's no effing way you caught that. Like there's just no way in hell that you
Yeah, I thought he was capping.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I honestly thought he got photoshopped with that.
No. Well, part of the media section that the Braves had for us was in the outfield, in that left field, by the left field foul line, and for the right-handers, like Junior Caminero, Carvalho, when he hit around, like that was home run alley right there. And Junior Caminero hit a ball towards that media box. I got under it, dropped it, but I wasn't losing that ball. I dove for it. I went home with a bruised knee, a big ass scratch on my side of my hip, but I got the ball, so that's all that matters.
What happened to your stickies, bro? You lost them.
It was coming so fast. By the time I was under it, the ball was already gonna hit my hand. Didn't have enough time to react.
You remind me of a certain homeboy. I don't want to say his name because he told me to take it to the grave. But we're at the Astros game and they're hitting BP and someone smoked the ball right there to the Crawford area. And he tried to catch it, just boom right off of his hand. Damn. Somebody else got it off the ricochet, so he felt disappointed. But at least you get to keep yours. That's really cool.
Yeah,
you gotta put that one in the rafters.
Yeah, it's my second time catching a home run. First time was in a Minute Maid Park. That one, like hanging off the Crawford box. I mean, the little not the Crawford box, but the little railings outside of outfield. I caught that one, but this one again just snuck up on me a little too quick. And but at the end of the day, we still got it.
Hey, and guess what? There it is. You put
the picture.
Hey, that boy. That's fire, bro.
The ball. Look at the pants. There's a little blood right there. If you see,
there's blood
on the pants. Blood looks like right there. That's a guy. Definition of a guy.
This I was expecting this. This got me off guard for real. But yeah, that's the finish piece right there. Rip hands, blood need, but hey, the ball's in the hands.
How's the swollen hand though? How's that doing?
It lasted a few hours, but I still had to type. I still have to write a story that night, so I had to suck it up and get it going.
Look at that boy, multitasking at its finest.
And then Tony Yayo, is Steb on a new host of Full Steam Ahead question? Of course, that's Stebby. Get you the stats. He's here to stay.
Yep, Stats by Stebby has been already officially trademarked. Look at that. Even Kevin on the chat with us. Who is that stud right there? Look at that.
Go.
See,
he's probably talking about you, bro. You got the
I
hat
know,
on today, sitting here looking good.
All-Star game hat too and everything.
Who?
Zoe?
Hell no, not me.
Nah.
That was a souvenir from you, which shout out to you for that. But man, dude, what an experience it is covering the All-Star game. I know last year I was able to cover it for Arskina, and it's one of the most electric environments to be a part of as a media person, as a person that loves baseball. Being out there with the athletes, celebrities, futures game, which the players of each franchise, their top prospects. Like you were talking about with the Seattle guy, Luis. I think his last name is Montos, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of comparisons to Jordan Alvarez for Seattle.
Yeah, that is a monster. I thought is it Luis or is it Lázaro?
Lázaro Montes.
Yeah, Lázaro Montes.
Yeah, he's a cold-blooded left-handed hitter. So, I'm glad, man. Glad you were able to experience that. Like I said, because that's one of the most humbling experiences I was able to. Besides, we do the postseason with the Astros. We've done the DS, the CS, but All-Star weekend, red carpet show, which we have interviews and we'll be posting that. If you haven't seen the Josh Hader one, go and check that one out. That one's already on there. We'll be having Jeremy Pena soon. We'll be having Hunter Brown soon. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, then you will not miss them videos. We'll have some shorts, we'll have some reels on our social media as well. But Brady on the road and tuned in. Shout out to Brady for that. And Tony, was yesterday the end of the Lance McCullers era, which we will be talking about that pretty soon because another shaky starts for Lance McCullers. He also even had mentioned we need Spencer Spaghetti back in the rotation ASAP. Same.
Okay, another traveler.
God, on the road again. Hopefully, y'all playing that.
Across the country with it. Looking at this.
Man, can't about to go to Area 51 and shit, bro.
He is the alien, though.
But hey, let's get this show going. Here's what we got for y'all tonight. Recap that Mariners series. Astros IL list continues to pile on. Of course, this is the title of episode 273. Another player to the Astros IL injury with Isaac Paredes, which I think that is a huge one for the Astros. We'll talk more about that when we get through this episode. Astros still on a left-handed bat from a columnist who was writing about this past weekend. Preview against the Arizona Diamondbacks as Tony Perez-Chica and Christian Walker will return to Arizona for the first time ever since signing with the Astros. Astros injury updates, and of course, we didn't get to talk about the draft since we were on our break, so we'll break down a little bit of that. A lot to get going on this jam-packed episode. Cantube, I know I already had talked about YouTube and all that stuff, but give everybody a refresher where they can find us and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you can find us on X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's at Full Steam Ahead. Instagram is at Full Steam Ahead, and you can also find us on wherever you get your podcast from. So again, we are there. Especially tune into YouTube with those shorts, TikTok as well, Instagram with those reels. Like we have a bunch of good content coming to you, soon, and there's always more to come.
Definitely a lot of creativeness this past week in All-Star facility in Atlanta, Georgia. But the Astros are 57-42, first in the American League West still. They had a 6.5 game lead on the Seattle Mariners. Now it has been cut down to 4 because Seattle did take the series against the Astros at T-Mobile Park. They still have the third best record in the American League. They still trail the Tigers, who's currently first, and the first team to 60 wins, 3 games back from them. And the Toronto Blue Jays, who have been literally on fire. Yeah, 1 game back from them being in the second spot. So, man, right there, when it gets closer to September, I know seeding kind of doesn't matter, but you saw that last year with the Astros being in that 3rd seed. It kind of hurt them being against in that wild card against the Tigers. So I think if you're an Astros fan, you're looking and hoping that, you can get one of those, either the first or second seed, because you get a bye, and you have to figure out who you play from either that third seed with the wild card team. So just to continue looking into that when it gets closer down into September and crunch time. But the Astros are 2-9 in their last 9 games after sweeping the Los Angeles Dodgers. If you would have told me the Guardians would have swept Houston at home, and really they honestly could have got swept by Texas at home, and going 1-6 in their last 6 games before the All-Star break, I thought you would have been stupid, because this team had great series against, powerhouse teams like the Cubs and the Phillies, and then over there, especially in LA, and then coming back home, you felt if you're a Nationals fan, you're feeling like your confidence is all time high. You feel like they should take care of business against them two teams. And unfortunately for the Astros, they just didn't. Christian Walker was on the paternity list as well, but you still had some guys. You still had Jose Altuve. You still had Isaac Paredes, Yainer Diaz, and the Astros just couldn't get it done. And sure enough, the Astros, I would say, in these last couple games, last series, it's been a little bit difficult, really, offensively and even the pitching.
Yeah, I think at this point, these Astros injuries are really taking a toll and really seeing noticeable. I think early on they were able to get away with a few just because Walter was pitching great, Gordon was pitching great too. So you're able to kind of, fly under the horizon a little bit, make your way out, sneak in a few wins. But this just shows how important it was for this Astros team to get to this hot start of the season. I know the Astros are usually a slow team, but again, they've had one of their best records in a few years, before the All Star break. But I just think these injuries are finally starting to take effect, and I'm I'm sure the Astros are just hoping and praying to get everybody healthy as quick as possible. So this four game lead now is not getting narrower and narrower as the season goes on.
Yeah, the boys are banged up and it's starting to show. And you could just tell that they look pretty gassed before the All Star break. And I was hoping that, that's what they needed to get a little rest. But they started, they came out the All Star break and struggled a little bit, but they were able to pick it up on the last game today and, kind of look a little better. But like I said, everybody's injured and you got a lot of these AAA players coming up and coming in to fill in. And then you get McCormick back, but, you still got to get him a chance to find his groove as well. So it's a long road up ahead, but everybody little by little is starting to come back from injury. So the Astros could eventually get back on track sooner or later, hopefully.
I found a tweet out there from Matt Thomas, Sports Talk 790 host on in the morning in Houston radio. He had mentioned 35% were Sugarland Space Cowboys players coming in. And then after today, from that IL move with Esau going to the 10-day IL, Shea Whitcomb coming up, John Singleton, who's coming up now, the option Cesar Salazar. There are 40% of this roster right now for the Astros, even in the lineup, but on the roster as of right now, 40% of them is from the Sugarland Space Cowboys, which that's how big this injury bug has been plaguing Houston, really, not just for this first half of the season, but like that Esoc one. It's already the second half now going into it, and
that was a big one.
Already got him.
Yeah, that injury to Isak, it's big. I think the two biggest injuries, I mean, that they've had. Yeah, you could say easy or Jordan, but I would say with Jeremy Pena and now Isak Bettis, because those are the guys that were doing what they were doing, fire bat, and that's without Jordan Alvarez, right? The Astros were winning without Jordan Alvarez because of Jeremy Pena, because of Isaac Paredes, right? Because of those guys there. Jake Myers too. That's another big one there. And I think not having a guy that can get on base constantly, for him to get in, it's a very unfortunate injury for the Astros, especially coming out the All-Star break, and then it's just making matters worse.
And then you kind of got to like rush up these guys that are still young, like Bryce. It's probably, if these injuries were not happening, he probably would have been in AAA as well. He could have been, maybe a late call up later, but it seemed like it was a rush one for him, and I mean, caught him by surprise. But who wouldn't want to be on the big league? And he started to show some good flashes. It took him a while to get his first hit. Show some good signs on defense. So just little kind of things he got to clean up, but it might just be nerves for the kid. His first road trip with the big league club as well.
Yeah, always will be Sugarland Skeeters. And Tony did ask, did the Rangers win today? They did not. And I will
They
give you
lost.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah, they did lose 2-1. I will give you the updated standings for the American League West. Of course, we had already mentioned Houston with their record. The Mariners are 4 games back with a 53-46 record. Mariners barely at 500 with a 50-50 record. Angels 49-50, not behind from Texas. And the Athletics 42-59, 16 games back in the American League West. But I mean, give me a one word you would describe this series because it looked like the Astros were going to get swept in the beginning of game three. They were already losing 3-0 with one of the aces on the mound with Hunter Brown. And luckily, the offense did come back and help out. Astros would offensively score more runs than the Mariners did throughout the series. But how would you take away this series against the M's? Using one word, I would, say.
I'd say like adversity.
Okay. Can too.
Uh, I don't know. I would say maybe. I really don't know. Like I'm drawing a blank right now, but it's not good just because all the injuries. Like I said earlier, it's just taking a toll on all these guys now. It's to be they're gonna have to grind it out even harder. Like rely on guys to step up. Like for example, Trammell did in Game 3. Guys like that to kind of step up and get some wins for the Astros.
Yeah, my one would probably be motivating because, like you just hit the nail with what I was going to say. Taylor Trammell, first rounder from the Seattle Mariners organization, and going out there and with a big game, and especially in Game 3, but a good series for him. That's huge for the Astros. But honestly, the Astros really had a chance to take the series away from Seattle. We'll talk a little bit more, break it down in each game, but Game 2, for sure was one that the Astros could have had finished and collected that one in Game 3. They won. They would have had the series, but you could go for both teams, really. Seattle could have had an easy sweep against the Astros, and Houston could have had an easy series win against the Mariners. But let's get that game one real quick because the Bats, I did not expect to be very cold after a long break from All Star weekend.
Yeah, Game 1. This is a game the Astros would like to forget. It wasn't pretty all around except for Brandon Walter, who pitched pretty good. 6 innings, pitched 3 hits, unearned run, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, 95 pitches, 62 strikes. Literally, when this team is healthy, that's a recipe for win, right? When your starter can give you 6+ innings with limiting just 1 run, you're typically going to get the win kind of, but that was not the case. Brandon Walters only gave up a home run to Randy Rosarena too, who's also coming from an All-Star season. But the bullpen couldn't really hold on to that, short, couldn't back up Brandon Walters' great start. Souza pitched an inning, another hit, an unrun, strikeout. Kurt and Neris, they got really banged up there. Kurt, a third of an inning, a hit, and 2 unruns. Hector Neris, 2/3 of an inning, a hit, 2 unruns, 2 walks, and a strikeout. And to make matters worse, the offense, wasn't producing as they should. The bats were cold. 0 for 9 with running in scoring position, 6 left on base. However, Bryce Matthews did get his first career hit, so just ending it on a bright note there.
Yeah, I would have thought the Astros would have came out swinging really well, from the break, and it was a well-needed break for this team because you just went 1-6 in your last homestand before the All-Star break, and you would think you'd be coming back a little bit with some hunger, some desire to take a series, especially against AL West rival with the Mariners, knowing that they're right behind your back for that next spot, which is being first in the American League West. So very, I didn't think that was going to happen, but it is what it is. You kind of move on. And like you said, you ended up on a good note. Bryce Matthews did get his first career hit, even though like that homestand, I don't know if you were looking at his at bats. Some of them were good. And when he pieced the ball, it was going right at somebody. So glad for him to get on base and be able to do that.
Yeah, I think the Astros took this game a little lightly coming into the first game, thinking that maybe, Mariners might have not been prepared or ready to play full force or, 100%. Maybe the Astros were surprised how Castillo pitched because they probably took him easily. They thought they were going to be, with a guy that throws a lot of fastballs, they probably thought, okay, somebody who could probably get to. But no, it was different. It seemed like he was gassing everybody by. Everybody wasn't really prepared. He pitched 6.2 innings, only allowed 3 hits, 7 Ks against us. So, I mean, he was out there keeping the Mariners in the game. And, I mean, he did his job and when by the time he hands it over to the bullpen, the Astros just no, it was too late for them.
Yeah,
But
Seattle. That,
but
but Luis Castillo has always pitched well against
yeah,
them.
he's nasty, bro. I've always liked Castillo, even when he was with the Reds.
Yeah, like he pitches really well against Houston every time he goes out there. I don't think there has been one start he hasn't given them more than 3 runs at least.
Hmm.
So, but that team though, Seattle, their offense, they don't have star-studded players. I mean,
Hmm.
besides Julio Rodriguez, which to me he's not having an all-star season, even though he is considered an all-star. When you go look at his stats, it just doesn't look like he's had a great offensive surge. Randy Rosarena really for me is the guy. Jorge Polanco is another guy who's had a good season for them. Other than that, you're just getting scrappy players that go out there and do the job. Cole Young's a good prospect for them,
Cal,
hitting well as of course, Dylan Moore's been with Seattle for a good while. Cal Raleigh, of course, being an MVP guy, which I will say the Astros did a really good job against Raleigh
yeah,
in
they
this
did.
series. Really good job.
You know, maybe the home run derby kind of affected the swing, but Kyle Riley, I'm sure
Probably
he's
got him tired, honestly, but yeah, usually too though. Like whenever Mariners regularly play, not against the Astros, like I always get a notification on fantasy. Kyle Riley homer, Kyle Riley homer, like dang near every day. So I'm just like, I'm glad the Astros at least kind of got to slow that one down a little bit. But like you said, Angel did mention he could be tired from the home run derby because you could just imagine the wear and tear that it takes to nonstop stay in a groove and keep the same stroke, and you know what I mean. It's a beating on the body right there.
Yeah, but just to go with Lorenzo's case about Luis Castillo against the Astros is 3-2 with a 3.02 ERA and 56 innings. He does have 51 strikeouts. And again, pretty high their number too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunate for Walter B on that end of having a beautiful start, starting it off that second half really good for the rotation and really specifically the series for the Astros. And 3 hits, I mean, that's quality star in the book. You would expect the Astros offense to give up a little bit more runs, something to put him up. But of course, when you have another guy on the other end like Castillo, it's very difficult for any offense to get going.
Yeah, and Walter's turn on the rotations TBA, so something to keep an eye on too.
Yeah, he also Walter was able to get Raleigh striking out looking twice, and then he also struck out the side of the sixth inning, which was like the core of the lineup too. I think J.P. Crawford and some other guys.
Yeah,
So I
he's
mean,
really pitched really well this season for the Astros. And Angel had mentioned it too, like that time that Astros Twitter was very upset with him, giving him shit basically, I would say, for a guy that's pitched really good in an Astros uniform. I mean, there has been a couple of starts have been rocky. Every pitcher's going to go through that, but for a guy that's been saving this rotation specifically, I mean, he's done a really good job. And sure enough, he started good on the right foot going into the second half of the season, especially against a team like the Mariners.
Yeah.
But on the other end, for the Astros starting pitching, of course, game two, the Astros did lose 7-6, and Lance McCullers Jr. was on the mound for the Stros, and he did not go as well as planned. I think as Astros fans were hoping for 2 2/3, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 1 strikeout. 75 pitches were thrown, 41 of them being strikes. I mean, the command was very shaky from the start. Fastball, especially, that command was very off. Couldn't put hitters away in most of the Mariners at bats, I would say too. So, I mean, it's been very shaky for him. I don't know how long if really for the Astros to continue on with him. And that was a question earlier from Tony. And I'll go back to it. Was yesterday the end of the Lance McCullers era? I wouldn't say it'd be the end, but there is a good chance, which we'll be talking about on overall thoughts after this series, that he could potentially be going into a bullpen role. So I don't know what y'all's thoughts real quick. Or we want to save it for that
Yeah.
segment.
Well, I can just say something real quick. I mean, I think the Astros have no choice but to ride with Lance McCullers Jr. until they get other healthy guys back. But another thing, he's getting paid to be a starter. He has we got the big contract, so give him the opportunity to do that. But it becomes very detrimental to the team when Lance McCullers is rolling out 3 innings consistently, 2 innings consistently, let's say 4 or 5 straight starts, and that's when you start thinking well, maybe the bullpen would be the key idea. But at this point, there's Astros hands are tied right now because who else is going to be like who will replace Lance McCullers if he goes to the bullpen? There's really not many options. Yeah, just because of all the injuries that have happened. But once healthy, I mean, that's when things will get a little bit more complicated for Lance McCullers. Like if everybody's healthy and he's not performing, then obviously Astros going to do whatever's best for the team to get these wins. So, but as of right now, like I agree with Lorenzo, the Lance McCullers Jr. era is not over yet, just because. I mean, who else is out there?
Yeah, Angel hit the cherry on top with that one. You could just hope that he's not feeling fatigue again or feeling any pain anywhere, causing him to not have so much command on this starting game right here. But I mean, Angel just took the words out of my mouth and he explained it pretty well on what the situation with Lance should be.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when pieces fall into place for the rotation for this Houston pitching staff. But we'll talk a little bit more on overall thoughts. And speaking of overall things happening through this game, it was a very interesting, heated moments in the middle part of this ball game. Let's start off with the Mariners pitcher, right-handed reliever Carlos Vargas throws up and in, and I would not even say in, very inside to Bryce Matthews. I don't know if y'all saw that.
Yeah, I
Looks
think
like it
was
almost
like
hits
a
his
string.
head. Yeah, it literally grazed his chin. And luckily for the Astros, it's not another injury. And luckily for Matthews, too, especially a 97, 97 heater going to your chin. That more than likely, I'm guessing 9 out of 10, that's probably going to be a broken jaw.
Yeah, for sure. Something shattered.
Yeah, so luckily for the Astros, and everything was all good. Next batter, Vargas hits Zach Short in the ribs, which later affected for today's starting lineup for the Astros. Didn't play due to sore ribs, and Astros dugout wasn't having it. Everybody was upset. You saw Mauricio Dubon on the top step. Taylor Trammell was throwing up his arms. Even Yordan Alvarez was like, "What the hell's going on?" So I mean, the whole dugout started barking into the other side of the Mariners dugout. Mariners dugout starts talking back to the Astros. Of course, things like happen like this, you're gonna get bench warnings for both teams, and they were issued during that time. Well, Brian Abreu comes in, hits Donovan Solano with a two-seamer that ran in on his elbow guard. If you go look at the replay, it really looked like it wasn't
Yeah.
serious, like it wasn't intentional either. But of course, with a two-seamer, especially the movement that it has on a right-handed hitter, it's going to go in on your hands. Savano was trying to get Abreu out of the game because, of course, both teams were issued warnings. But I guess the umpire saw it as non-intentional, and I mean, both teams went out with their day. But speaking of the bullpen, for the most part, I would say they held it down pretty damn good. Brian Abreu did get the blown save, unfortunately for him, an inning, one hit, an earned run, and two strikeouts. If Caratini blocks that, I mean, he blocked it, but it got away from him. If he blocks it and the ball's right at him, then you're good. But unfortunately for that part of the game, that's the game of baseball. Bounces, goes to almost the Astros on deck circle. Tied ball game in the eighth with 2 outs. It's just an unfortunate moment for the Houston team. Moving on real quick to another crucial part of this game was Josh Hader. I mean, going up there 2 innings, giving up a run, not being earned, 2 walks and a strikeout. But there was a crucial part, like I had mentioned. If you saw that swing by Dylan Moore, hits the knob of the baseball bat, the ball cleanly hits it. Back to Josh Hader. There is a potential, I would even say double play. If Josh Hader fields that ball cleanly, throws it to Caratini at home, more than likely, 10 out of 10, I would say, Cal Riley's going to be out at home. Dylan Moore was still in the batter's box. There's a double play, but didn't field the ball cleanly. Riley scored. Moore got out at first. A guy from second, I don't know who was at second at the time, he literally was just chilling, and then he could have walked to third base because Josh didn't, I guess, pay attention to him. But during that time, the Astros didn't get nothing out of it. Nothing too serious. Hector Neris comes in, throws literally a third of an inning, gave up a hit, that run from a walk-off from Cole Young. But just 2 crucial parts of that game. I mean, and that's the funny thing about baseball. Breaking ball obviously is going to be a dirt ball, bounces away from Caratini. PFPs is very important in baseball. Pitchers, fielding practice. And Josh Hader's really good at fielding his position, not to mention. But unfortunately, at that part, he just didn't field the ball cleanly. getting the exchange out of his glove. And I mean, them two crucial parts really helped the Mariners, in my opinion, helped the Mariners win that game, being able to solidify game 2 and really the whole series.
Yeah, I wanted to
go ahead.
I wanted to touch up too on the Vargas situation. Vargas had only hit one batter before this season prior to this game against the Astros. So you kind of want to there's no intent there a little bit. It kind of is a little nod. I mean, you could say the pitch got away, but there's no way to do it. Two batters in a row if you only hit one guy in the whole season. So you know what I mean. He might have got mad and let one go on accident on the second one. But I mean, one of the big highlights this game. The bad highlight is, he loses Paredes in the third inning. He's the field limping with the hammy. And then Christian Walker in the game collects his 100 career hit with the RBI. Thing, too, that you brought up is with Hader as well. In his first inning, he gets tested, and he gets a little dribbler back to him. And, goes to first like nothing. And then in extras, Moore never got a hit against Hader. And his first hit is literally off the knob of the bat, a little freaking check swing type of hit, and it just bamboozled him. And Hader, he's usually good on fielding. He just took it too lightly, probably got too nervous, seeing Riley in motion coming down the line, stomping through, and he just rushed it and wasn't able to make the play, which most likely probably could have got down, but Moore was also in the way, so regardless, it would have resulted in an out because, interference, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think for me, just going back to Hader real quick, it's kind of hard to be perfect this whole season. I mean, he started off great, 25 or 25, and it's just kind of hard to. It's a long season, so it's kind of hard to get be perfect the entire time. I think right now it's just a rough stretch for him. Like even like Mariano Rivera had like 80 blown saves in his career too. So I mean, it's bound to happen as well. It's just I think for Abreu, it's a rough stretch. I'm sorry for Hader, it's a little rough stretch, but I think he'll be back on track there.
One thing I wanted to bring up too, they mentioned that Dubon is a big role right now for Matthews, that he's helping him be comfortable, giving him advice, and Caratini is on base 5 times in the game. It's his second time in his career, first time in 2019 for Caratini.
There you go.
Yeah, did you not know that? Now you know by stats, by Esteban. We already have trademarked that, so just a heads up if anybody wanted to try to take that away. But like Kevin said, Dubon wasn't playing, especially on Dubon. He wasn't taking that SHIT.
Dubon had a good play in extras with a slash. He showed bunt, slashed it back, and boom, smacked it to the third baseman and just ate up the third baseman, went into the outfield.
Not to mention game three defensively too. Trammell to Dubon to Diaz at home. What great relay, great throw from Doobie. Of course, that's why he is a Gold Glove infielder, outfielder. That equals a utility man. Tony Yayo, Brandon Rogers just broke his jaw. Which, yes, he did not break his jaw, but he did collide with a shortstop in the Space Cowboys game. That was a collision during that game, diagnosed with a concussion and a nasal fracture. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they transferred him to the 60-day IL.
Yeah, but it's just a move on paper just to get John Singleton in to the roster.
Big bad John.
Yeah, meant to say on his birthday. But I will say this though before we move on to game 3, that first one to Bryce Matthews, I think it could have been a little intentional just for the fact that he was sack bunting during that time. I don't know if you saw he was loading up to bunt, especially with pitchers. You want to try to throw up in their hands to make them pop up or just move out the way, make it a strike in the inside corner. So my opinion, maybe it was a little intentional, but of course we don't know the whole thing about it. Like Steban said, he only hit one batter throughout this whole season. Now you're going to hit 2 in one game. So I don't know. Not 100% sure.
It could be a pitcher's ego thing. You know what I mean? It could have been like, hey, this is your first time facing me, bro, and you're going to try to bunt on me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's the part of the game. Like if I'm a pitcher and you're trying to bunt on me, I'm definitely throwing a 2-seamer. I'm throwing something in your hands, maybe even an off speed, just to try to either get you off the plate or pop up. Obviously, that's what you want to do in them type of situations. But like you said, yeah, especially a rookie coming into this game and doing that. Maybe there was something with that from Vargas.
Well, let's move on here to game three. Hunter Brown was on the bump. Astros did get victorious 11-3, but Hunter Brown continues to struggle. He struggled his last two stars prior for the All Star game, and then comes in again and has a little struggle. So you could just hope maybe he's getting tired. This was his 20th start, so Hunter may need a little more extra rest. And they mentioned that he got back out there on the bump as fast as he could because he was trying to come off that bad start and start off the All Star after the All Star break with a good start. He wasn't able to do that sadly. But Hunter Brown, 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, two walks, and 7 Ks. So he was able to get a couple whiffs, which is a good thing. It's always a good thing. You're making batters miss. 89 pitches, 57 strikes, and the Mets were just on.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what you were talking about. Your Wi-Fi a little lagging, so
Yeah, I didn't know you were talking yet. My fault.
but yeah, I mean, first game back, um, Mariners know a lot about him. Mariners have faced him a lot of times. Of course, they're going to make adjustments. Just wasn't Hunter Brown's game. Luckily, he did throw 89 pitches, seven strikeouts. Which with Brown, especially with his strikeouts, he throws a lot of pitches, and of course, a lot of swing and misses. Got a lot of foul tips. So the pitch count did rise up. If I would say it was 81 pitches, I would probably no doubt think that Joe Espada would let him go out for that fifth inning. But fortunately, the pitch count was very high. Couldn't get the 5 innings. But hey, first game back, be prepared for the next one.
Yeah, I wonder if the Astros will give Hunter Brown like an extra few days of rest. Not necessarily in his next start, but like in the upcoming, in the future. Just because I believe it was said that Fernando Valdez was supposed to start on Sunday originally, and then ended up being Hunter Brown as well to get Fernando Valdez a few extra days of rest. So I wonder if Brown can benefit from that. I mean, he hasn't pitched bad. I mean, three in runs. If he were to pitch two more, he has a quality start anyways, right? So he didn't pitch too bad there. I mean, I think Hunter Brown's just been so good this year that you're kind of like, oh my god, 4 innings. You kind of compress the panic button again. But just like I said about haters, it's a long season. It's kind of hard to stay perfect the entire time. Will be some rough patches, but I think Hunter Brown will, be smooth sailing in a few starts from now.
I'd say this. I'll say this real quick. This matchup, though, Brian Wu, Hunter Brown, if you didn't see during the All Star week, them two guys were like next to each other almost all the time in Atlanta. So I thought that was pretty cool for both of them. Young cats, young upcoming pitchers, I would say, too, in this league. It was a great pitching matchup for them. Unfortunately, for both of them, didn't go the outcome they would like. But yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, Wu's a dog. He was cruising for a while at first, and then Astros had that one good inning and were able to get him out the game. I'll tip of cat to the bullpen. They're already taxed. The second game, I believe the Astros have 7 bullpen arms. So to come in and ask Kurt, Abreu, Gusto, King to relieve Hunter Brown and all, be able to hold the Mariners phenomenal. It's a good. After having a rough little 2-game stretch right here, the Astros could bounce back at least. Could go on to the next road trip, one victory, and maybe keep the win streak going after this.
I know this is off topic. Well, actually, go ahead, Stefan. Finish. No, finish, and then I'll talk about it. It's very off topic.
Offensively, everyone got a hit except Yiner and Cooper Hummel. Offense scored multiple runs from the 5th to the 8th inning. Cam Smith, 2-run double. And today was Cam Smith's first game in the leadoff as well.
Yeah.
Good. And this kid literally batted every spot besides the 3-hole. So that's pretty crazy to me. And shout out to Tony Paris Chica and Shea Wickham for an aggressive stand, and Wickham getting on his horse to score the tie run, which that was a really good read by Wickham, and he was able to avoid the tag from Cal as well, because that was pretty close. That was real ballsy. That move, but Shea was able to show off the wheels and the athleticism. Shout out to that kid. Caratini staying hot, man. Staying hot. 3 for 5, 3 RBIs, Walker on a home run, 400 footer, no doubter. Randy Rosarena, whenever he came off the bat, he just like didn't even flinch. He's like, that thing's pissed on. He's like, I can't do nothing about that. Then you bring up Taylor Trammell, 3 for 4. What a game! Just a lot of grit right here against the former ball club. And he even said he played this series with a chip on his shoulder, and he prepared this week extra harder, a little more because knowing with the history with him and the Mariners, he wanted to come in and show, hey, don't let go of me. I'm back. I'm going to be a little nightmare and be a little headache today. But Trammell, able to leave the yard, able to leave the park today as well. 105.2 off the bat, 399 feet. And then he had a double after this, which was as well 399 feet, but it was the center. So he had pulled it to right field. It would have been 2 home runs for him, but it was also the same result. It was able to bring in an RBI off a double. So tip of the cat, Trammell, coming in and filling in the role for this injured Astros team.
Yeah, this game is a great example of next man up. Like, well, Esteban wants to bring those offense stats. You did not hear Jose Altuve. You did not hear Yanni or Diaz, producing just because they can't do everything every single time. And games like this where Taylor Trammell is 3 for 4 with a home run, like those are games you actually need to take advantage. Caratini again, they need to take advantage of his contract year, and he's playing tremendous of late too. So it's gonna have to be. This is how it's got to be for quite a while now, because we don't know when Jerry Payton's coming back. We don't know when he's back by this, and it didn't look pretty. So I'm predicting, a long absence from him. Jordan still, still not back yet. So this is the type of wins the Astros need to do. Next man up, guys like, you probably won't, names you probably won't hear a lot. Like for example, Zach Shore had a walk off here not too long ago. Like it's just guys like that stepping up and putting their team on their back.
We call it. I wanted to mention too, Altuve has the highest batting average this month, and he was a little quiet this series, but he's second, batting 3-2 behind the Marlins' Kyle Stowers, which was a phenomenal robbery of them. I mean, well, not really a robbery because the Orioles were able to snag up Rogers, which is doing really good for them, but Stowers is just killing it, and that kid's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, like 4 home runs in 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. With my
crazy.
And then one thing I did want to say is like Minor, he just looked troubled today. I mean, it looked like he would have had better to have a day off, but Astros needed him because everybody's injured, so you need as many as your big league guys you can. But this is one of those things where it's like, man, if Paredes didn't get injured, possibly could have given him a day off, and you could have given Caesar a shot, possibly.
Yeah, Caesar was actually option though.
He was option.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, if Paredes didn't get injured, maybe Caesar could have got a shot today. Prior to getting an option. Like,
go ahead, Adrian. I know you had something that you wanted to tell us. That was.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this is going back to the All-Star break. I just thought about it. Like, what did y'all think about that swing off at the end of the All-Star game to kind of like decide the winner?
I liked it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really did. I think Aaron Boone could have put some other guys than. I mean, Brent Rooker hit the ball really good, but you put Jonathan Aranda and then Randy Rosarena when you had Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh. I mean,
but I think they're already out the game.
Yeah, once you're actually in the game playing, you couldn't come in for that.
Gotcha. So okay, that makes sense. Yeah. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So which is crazy to me too, though, because look, the NL must have had it prepared, thinking like, all right, we're probably gonna lose because the AL's been winning a lot, all these All-Star games. So NL came prepared, thinking, oh, we might lose. So guess what? They already knew about this rule that was gonna take in place. And who did they leave on the bench? Kyle Schwarber, Pete Alonso. Like, bro, like it's a cheat code. Like, you're not gonna beat those guys.
Yeah, well, I think both managers had theirs pre-planned prior to the game starting.
Yes,
predetermined.
I completely forgot about that. Yes, they did.
So Aaron Boone already had Jonathan Aranda predetermined, and it makes sense because Judge, won the majority of votes, so he's not going to play the whole game, right? So it's like guys like that. So yeah, but I mean, I liked it too. It makes it pretty it kind of reminded me of like a penalty shootout in soccer, like when it's a draw. So I like it.
I would have real quick. I would have throw if I was the American League, throw some right-handed guys. So instead of Jonathan Ronda, I would have threw somebody else because of the fact that right field down the line is very
Yeah.
short. It's like 310, not 310, 315, 320, if anything.
It's
Compared to
time.
that, yeah, compared to the wall though in right field at Truist Park, that's hard to hit, into the fans, into the stands. I wouldn't what the chop house they call it.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, that home run derby. Speaking of the chops, that little ball's getting smoked over that. I mean, O'Neal Cruz, what did he go? What was it
513
513? Like, bro, that's video game numbers. That's
out of the
home run.
out of the park too.
And
I would say this.
the dude's not
Go
even
ahead. Go
cut
ahead.
though. Like, if you look at him, like he's just tall, pure body. Like he uses his whole body to produce that. Like you look at Judge. Judge doesn't even hit a ball that far, and Judge is pure size and muscle.
Well, Kyle Riley too. I mean, he like fucking O'Neal Cruz out hit, distance wise, right? Out hit Kyle Riley, but yeah, I think those balls are juiced though because I was hitting uh, I was watching batting practice after the home run derby, and Junior Caminero was not going near where he went, during the home run derby. So
What
could
do you
be
call it? Honestly, for derby, who'd you have predicted? I had
that Kyle Riley.
Caminero. I had Caminero.
I had Caminero as a sleeper for me, but
Yeah, I remember you did telling me that, but I had Kyle Riley.
I had Caminero as a sleeper, but I thought O'Neal Cruz was gonna cruise some
I, I,
shots.
I thought Wood would have been a sleeper.
Yeah,
There's
that
one.
one he surprised me not being able to hit a lot more, home runs. And he has
One
a
thing
smooth swing too.
I did want to backtrack to about the Astros too.
Oh yeah. That's what I
Today
forgot. Let's get back to it.
today's
back to that.
starters that we're talking about, we did talk about Hunter Brown and Brian Wu being phenomenal. So lowest OPP average versus fastballs this season is Paul Skeens 0.183, Hunter Brown 0.190, and then Brian Wu follows 0.191. So there's good numbers being right there. There's really good pitchers right there.
Yeah, Brian Wu, I feel like is so under
the radar
over there because you got guys like Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Bryce Miller too is another guy, and Brian Wu who's been pitching really good. And not to mention the Mariners just drafted in the third pick Cade Anderson from the freaking Tigers of LSU. That's just my God, they're pitching over there. I mean, not to mention they got Emerson Hancock as well. Their pitching depth in that organization, if with Luis Castillo, by the time Cade Anderson comes up, which I predict in 2 or 3 years from now, shoot, that's gonna be a great rotation that you do not want to go against. Like it's insane. So. But like someone was saying, video game numbers, he had a video game kind of lag over there. I don't know if everybody was able to hear him, but let's finish it off with overall thoughts real quick. The Astros, I will say, didn't get the job done, not getting swept. That's a big thing because if the Astros would have got swept, it would have been 3 games back for the Mariners of the American League West. But for the Astros, being able to pick up Game 3 was able to get that and prevent being swept from Seattle. I think that's a positive. Let's go to LMJ real quick. McCullers Jr., my opinion, this is me speaking, could potentially be moving to the bullpen. You got Christian Javier coming back, which we'll have updates on him, and Spencer Rigetti as well, and Luis Garcia, if Garcia returns from his rehab starts. But 3 of his last 4 games, I mean, it's been very short for him. Obviously, one of them being with the Dodgers, that one was probably his best game. 6 innings, he's only given up in the run, but gave up 4 walks, but the other 3 starts, Chicago Cubs, 3 1/3, gave up 8 runs, 4 walks. Texas, 3 innings, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, as well as the Mariners, like we had reached on the stat line. If you haven't heard, 2 2/3, 4 earned runs, 3 walks. And Tony did mention earlier on the show, if the Lance McCullers era is over, I don't think so. But for me, going back to this, I believe when those guys come back, there is I will say about a 75-80% chance McCullers could go to the bullpen, especially if he can't get it going, like if he can't get like one of them stat lines against the Dodgers, and he continues to pitch like what he did with the short leash, going 3 1/3, 3 innings, 2 1/3, or 4 1/3. I mean, the Astros rotation needs somebody that could give him 5 innings because it can't be on Framber Valdez and it can't be on Hunter Brown all the time. The rotation got to step up, and if McCullers continues doing that, I think when Christian Javier and Eric Getty and Luis Garcia come back, he could potentially be the odd man out going back to the bullpen.
I don't disagree with you. However, I think Last Cutters Jr. in the bullpen will be last resort just because you have, for example, Colton Gordon still in the rotation, and he came out the bullpen against uh I believe against what either Rangers Seattle, like one of those games. He came out the bullpen, so could be something that Eric Getty might be close, and just getting a feel for that. Gusto is another guy that's been coming out the bullpen as well, and the Walter start as TBA, so I don't know if it's going to be him or Gusto or Walter, but just I think those two guys there first will take over the bullpen before Lance McCullers does. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't disagree with you because if Lance McCullers is not doing what he got to do, then the Astros got to make a very hard decision there and like bringing Lance McCullers to the bullpen. But I would say though they're going to give him all the chances to get it right. If that doesn't happen, then you can see that change.
Yeah, the Astros and have nothing better to do but just let McCullers do his thing and kind of pan out until somebody comes back from the IL. And this is perfect time for Lance because, I'm sure he's thinking in his head the situation. I'm not doing well. Like, am I going to lose my job or what's going to go on? He wants to be a starter. And, the bullpen, I'm pretty sure it's in the back of his head, but he doesn't even want to think about that. He wants to be a starter. That's what he's been signed for. That's what he was drafted for. He wants to be a superstar. He wants to be the starter of a game. And he wants to get guys swinging, but if he can't get back to what he can be, then you need him to be as clean as he can be. And if you can have him be clean for 3 innings or 4 innings out of the bullpen, then that's going to be your best option to go with it. I mean, this is a guy that's been injured, so like being a starter is going to be more wear and tear on the body that's already banged up. So giving him the bullpen role might be a good thing to do. It might not help his confidence, but that's where he needs to take advantage of all these starts till somebody gets back and then prove that, hey, I'm good. I'm good to go.
Uh, Another thing, how would you think Lance McCullers would take it
And that's what I
being
was
moved to
thinking.
the bullpen? Because when being asked that,
Spring training.
spring training, he was very adamant that he was training for a starter or stuff like that. But I don't know. It obviously can go two ways, right? Either he's happy, I'm sure he's not gonna be happy about it, but it's the way he comes out of it. Like he sees guys like Altuve, in that clubhouse doing everything for the team. At the end of the day, you're a player on this team trying to, win as a team to get a championship. So obviously you can try to do what's best, but I wonder how he'll take that, like, personally. So
I mean,
very interested.
it has to be a first team mentality. Like you brought it up really well. If Jose Altuve basically said, "I'll do anything," and literally doing anything, playing left field, a different position, trying to learn that, I think McCullers can be like, okay, well, let's figure out how, because coming from the bullpen and being a starter is two different things. It's two different breeds. And obviously, you saw that with Justin. You can even say with Justin Verlander, if you guys remember, he wasn't pitching really well at the end. And when it came to deciding on the American League wild card roster, if Verlander was going to be on it, he was off. So I think for McCullers to be open to that bullpen road, I wouldn't personally, for me, in my opinion, I think he should look into it. He should accept it, and because he wants to do what's best for the team. And if you're getting fresh arms coming back from the IL, and that can help the team, especially this rotation with really Framber and Hunter Brown carrying this rotation. If you got some assets coming back with Javier Arrighetti and Garcia, and if I'm him, I'm taking a seat back because there's going to be a crucial part of a game that the Astros are going to need a long relief guy. You saw in the postseason with Christian Javier and Luis Garcia piggybacking off of each other. For him, try to get used to it. If now, then when it comes to postseason time, more than likely you're going to have a start. You're going to be a guy in one of the positions. I forgot to mention Angel too. Like when them three guys come back, more than likely, I would think Gordon would be the odd man out, as well as Ryan Gusto being the guys that are going to be probably option to Sugarland when them three starters return.
It'll be interesting to see what they do to Walter too. I mean, Walter's pitched great in his own right. I think
Agree.
uh, he's pitched well enough to stay in the rotation, and I think it's going to come down to Walter and McCullers. That's really what it's going to come down to because they got Hunter Brown, Aaron Valdez, Christian Javier, and Spencer Ige. That's already four. And let's say go to a 6-man rotation, you can kind of squeeze both of them in there. But you know, it's going to be between those two. Who's pitching better at that time, and one of them is going to be the odd man out to go to the bullpen. It's just see who adjusts better.
Both could honestly, because like I said, Luis Garcia. I think
See,
Eric Getty right now, as Javier got a little bit more. They're in Double A right now, and Garcia's in Fayetteville, which that we're already getting to our injury updates. But yeah, it's kind of trying to figure out with him too.
I guess it's just me though. Like it's kind of hard to see Luis Garcia pitching valuable innings this year. I think you know, I I think at this point, especially because it's long absence, like I should Luis Garcia as a bullpen piece, just because look what the Dodgers are doing with Shohei Ohtani. He's a starter, yet goes 1 or 2 innings, you know, and it's a bullpen game. The rest, I don't see the Astros doing that. I see maybe piggybacking off in Lance McCullers just in case he can't go 5 innings, or if he does go 5 innings, you put him in for an inning, stuff like that. I just right now at this point, it's kind of hard for me to see Luis Garcia in this starting rotation and pitching valuable innings. Like Javier Arrighetti, of course, he'll come back, be ready to go. But Luis Garcia with the longer absence, it's just kind of hard for me to push him 5, 6 innings.
Yeah, if Lance is all about his team first mentality, then this is what he's gonna have to do. He's gonna have to get rid of his ego and not listen to his ego in his head. And if the Astros need him to be a bullpen piece, then he has to be a bullpen piece. I mean, you want to continue to be a big leader for his ball, a big leader for this ball club. Then that's something that Jose Altuve and you have these younger guys, following after Altuve and changing into different roles. Cam Smith, Bryce Matthews, Wickham. The list goes on. Everybody that gets called up, not all of them are primary positions where the Astros throw them at. But guess what? They do it because the Astros need it.
Yeah. So it's just gonna have to see how it goes when the return of those guys come back to the rotation. How the Astros are going to shake it up, how they're going to do, and then especially if Luis Garcia returns to Houston this year to the staff, where are they going to plug him? Can he be a bullpen guy? Can he be a starter? It's just kind of like a wait and see kind of thing. Not to mention too, the trade deadline is coming up. You'd be interested to see what Houston's going to do, which we'll talk about here in a minute with who they're going to be looking after. But
right.
I don't know.
So going back to that, just this All-Star, trade deadline stuff. I mean, the trade deadline stuff. All those top prospects that the Astros could, probably traded for, like Shea Whitcomb, DeZenzo, Bryce Matthews, are now playing crucial parts for the Astros. So that kind of diminishes your trade value a little bit because you can't get rid of them right now because they're, in the majors doing what they got to do there. So it's interesting. I mean, obviously there's still, trade pieces because you can say, like, I'm not saying they're off limits. I can see a trade, happening, but it's kind of hard to move on from a guy like that that's going to be playing important innings, for you in the upcoming months.
Yeah, let's finish overall thoughts real quick, and then
Yeah,
we'll get on to that. Big series from Taylor Trammell, 3 for 7, double home run, 4 RBIs. Trammell, first round pick from the Reds, went to Seattle, made his debut and everything. Didn't really have a good career in Seattle, I would say, in his 3 seasons there. Now has a 740 OPS after this series, so that's a big booster of confidence for him after this, especially for Joe Espada if he wants to put the left-handed outfielder into the lineup. But moving real quick, Astros IL stint continues to pile on. The Astros now have 16 players on the IL, which is the most in Major League Baseball. Of course, the Dodgers were up there, but now it's the Astros with Isaac Paredes being out with a right hamstring injury. And that one could be huge for the Astros because, in my opinion, and I think both of y'all could really agree with me on this, this really, really, really hurt to the Astros offense because this is a guy that led the team in home runs, RBIs, worked the counts, made the pitch count go up for these pitchers. On base percentage, drawn a bunch of walks, all that type of stuff. That guy in your lineup who is big, being a catalyst for, I would say, about the 2 spot. He even did really good in the leadoff spot and even in 3 spot as well. That one's a tough one to swallow because we don't know the future of Jeremy Pena yet. We don't know with Jordan Alvarez yet. So for him to be on the IL, I mean, the Astros are going to have to rely on guys like the Sugarland Space Cowboy players, Shea Whitcomb, Zach Short, Cooper Humble. I mean, the list goes on and on with these guys, but Yainer Diaz has to step up in a big way now. Christian Walker, who had a good game 2 and game 3 in this Seattle series, he has to step up big as well. Maybe going into Arizona, it'd be a little bit more comfortable for him knowing that he's been playing there for so many years, kind of help him get back up and play again. So those 2 guys, I'm really expecting to have a big step up in this offense because Jose Altuve, of course, is Jose Altuve. He has his games and here and there. Cam Smith has done a really good job, but sometimes you're going to catch cold in some of these parts of the game. Yainer Diaz for me and Christian Walker, these guys need to really step up because you're losing your run production with Isaac Paredes and the guy that led the team in home runs. Them guys being really in the 4-3-5 spot in this lineup. Caratini has done a really damn good job too, but them 2 guys, especially with Walker getting paid that much money because of his defense, but of course his offense was a big part of Houston why they were going to go sign him. And then Yainer Diaz last year was really well. Can you continue on that season in 25? And sure enough, right now it hasn't looked really good in what he did in 24.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with you more. It's it's next time I'm telling you, like I said, and like I said earlier too, I think the biggest injuries that the Astros have had is not even Jordan Alvarez, it's Jeremy Pena and Isaac Paredes. I think those are like the 2 biggest ones this season, just because of the value they bring to the field, the performance they have been, and like we've been saying on podcasts, is like this Astros team's finally feeling the effect of all these injuries, but the only way to get out of it is trusting the guys that make up the rest of the roster, and there a reason why they're here. Bryce Matthews is a reason why he's here because he can hit the baseball really good. It's just time for them to step up.
Stebby, I don't know if you want to add anything to that before we move. All right, real quick. Astros still on a left-handed bat per Bob Nightingale of USA Today. They are focusing on acquiring a left-handed hitter at the deadline for a lineup that features the fewest at-bats by a left-handed hitter in baseball. Of course, Jordan Alvarez being a left-handed guy, that was the Astros guy, but of course he's been on the shelf since May with an injury. Of course, the Astros did trade away Kyle Tucker, who was a left-handed hitter for the Astros as well. But Angel said it best. I'm not going to lie to you. The Astros, with Shea Whitcomb now on the team, Bryce Matthews on the team, who do you trade? Who do you trade at this part when it comes to trade deadline? Literally is 11 days away as we're talking on a Sunday night on July 20th. It is on July 31st when the trade deadline will happen. And the Astros have to figure out, Dana Brown specifically being the general manager of this organization, how he can move some pieces to acquire left-handed bat, because I think number 1 is going to be that on the priority list for him. Number 2 could be pitching. I don't know if he'll be a starter, a reliever. To me, I think the bullpen's done a really fantastic job, but maybe a start because we don't know what's going to happen with the rest of the rotation. We don't know Javier is going to be clean when he comes back, as well as Eric Getty, as well as Luis Garcia. We've already talked about Lance McCullers Jr. How long and how well can Framber and Hunter Brown continue to pitch like this? So that could be another target for the Astros. But I'm not going to lie to you, Angel. You said it best recently, not too long ago, that the Astro trade pieces in this organization, what they have, which Bryce Matthews was number 98 in the top 100 prospects on MLB Pipeline not too long ago. The trade value for them, it's pretty not high. They don't have a lot of guys that they could trade maybe in-house with the roster what they have on the shelf with guys like Chas McCormick. But, man, it's going to be tough for Houston. I just want to hear y'all's thoughts on that real quick.
Yeah, because even Chas McCormick. What do you want to say, Stefan?
Well, I just wanted to talk about the trade deadline. So, like, there's speculation, rumors, potential targets for the Astros, and you got names like for hitting wise, you got people like Brandon Lowe, Brendan Donovan, Jaron Duran, Ryan O'Hearn, Cedric Mullins, Jake Fraley, and then for your pitchers, you got maybe Merrill Kelly, and then another one that he's been kind of struggling, but you know that he's really good from the past. That maybe how the Astros bringing these pitchers and get them back to where they should be. Zach Gallen.
That'd be an interesting one. I think that one's gonna be tough though.
Yeah, it'd be a
tough.
tough move because of our prospects. You know what I mean? We don't have much to play with, but if the Astros could somehow, finesse their way, you know how they like to finesse other teams and sometimes fleece people, that would be a good answer. I mean, Merrill Kelly as well. I mean, he's he's not too old, but you know what I mean. He has his little history with the league already, but he's a guy that showed good flashes as well.
Yeah, I mean, like you named all really good names, but again, it's just like what do the Astros offer? Because even like Chas McCormick, who's been brought up of trade pieces, it's kind of hard to trade him because Jake Myers is hurt. So you need someone to be out there at center. Like Taylor Trammell's done a really good job, but can you trust Trammell for consistent at bats and be there when consistently? It's kind of hard to do that just because of his track history. This is a guy who's I think role I don't want to be bad about him. Like I mean, when I was right, but I think right now he's a role player. Like I don't see him as a starter. That's going to lead a World Series team. That. So there's going to be some moves they're going to have to make. They might have to maneuver either like a shake weight come with a Chas McCoy, kind of make something appetizing for other teams to do because it's going to be very hard. And it's kind of like I was saying, it's kind of hard to justify a trade when these prospects are putting up innings for you.
Yeah, and then according to Yahoo, they're saying that the bigger potential trade pieces would be Miguel Eola, Walker Janik, and Bryce Matthews.
And Miguel Eola just had 11 strikeouts.
Right? Yes, and that's why I was going to come up with. Do you
today?
Trade?
Was that today?
Yes.
And
that was I was going to bring up real quick to y'all. Do you trade Miguel Eola?
I would not. That dude's a dog. Him and
he is.
Him and Allenbert Santa. Those guys are going to be really good pieces to come in the future.
Well, it's kind of hard to trade pitching just because of all you're seeing it right now. You're witnessing with all these pitcher injuries that's going on. I think pitching comes with high value, and it's just how bad do you want a left-handed hitter? Like if you're gonna get a left-handed hitter with maybe 2-3 years of control, then okay, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Reasonable. But if you're gonna get a rental for Miguel Eola, I don't think that's worth it. Just because again, the guy's looking pretty good, and he's like you mentioned Albert Santa. Well, Miguel Eola actually looks back at Santa starts and goes back and tells him when he says wrong. So that's how you got a baseball guy right there.
He mentors him.
Yeah,
that's somebody you want around anybody pitching wise, because I mean everybody in life too, not just pitching in life. You always need a second thought. You know what I mean? Somebody that's gonna be nonchalant and somebody that's gonna be unbiased about any opinion and tell you, hey, look, you're doing this good and you're doing a terrible job at this. So I mean, to have something like that in life in general or just baseball wise is just it's a good role.
But they're just saying that you always trade prospects for the guy that's done it for so many years. So it's just interesting to see how what the Astros do.
I 100% agree with y'all. I wouldn't want to trade Miguel, but like you had mentioned just right now, Angel, prospects are prospects. You don't know if the prospects are going to be the top dogs for a while. Just like Taylor Trammell was a first rounder, for instance, and look where he was at. Like
Forrest Whitley. Forrest
Whitley's another guy. Mark Appel. I mean, we could go throughout the whole Astros list of that time. But yes, I will agree with y'all. I wouldn't trade him because man, he's been pitching phenomenal. Yeah. I won't be surprised if he's a September call up when we get down to that time. But for the Astros, it's going to be very difficult to trade with anybody. I mean, think about it last year. Last year was Jake Bloss, Will Wagner, and Joey Luperfido for Yusei Kikuchi. And look how that turned out for the Astros.
For 2 months.
Yeah, and look how that turned out for the Astros, though. I think if the Astros could have got around Detroit, I think that could have been another ALCS team right there because Kikuchi during that time was pitching lights out. And if,
Yeah.
like I said, if Framber could have found a way to win game one and Hunter Brown game two, or even if Hunter Brown could have, well, I mean, the offense really, it wasn't really Hunter Brown's fault, but the team, if they would have found a way to get to game three, especially with AJ Hinch not knowing who he was going to throw in game three, it could have been Houston best part of advancing to another ALCS because you had Kikuchi who's been pitching lights out from them last 2 months. But for that trade, think about it. Jake Bloss literally went from Double A to the majors. Will Wagner was slashing the ball in Triple A, and Joey Luperfido, who slashed the ball really well in spring training, went to the Astros and did pretty decent. So it's
I
kind
think,
of like
I think Joey's back up now too. I think they're using him again. I think he started. I seen them posting him hitting and stuff.
Yeah,
I think what if the Astros make a trade, Walker Janik is gone. I'd say that.
And it's tough for the Astros because
You need a catcher.
Besides that,
Right.
if Yainer Diaz could find his groove, you're set for catcher. I mean, where would you put Walker Yannick? The only place I would think you would put him would
First, maybe.
be first base. Yeah. So
Maybe third. He's pretty. Isn't how big is he?
I'm not 100% sure, but
I'll get on that.
that kid
He's
has
6 foot.
that kid has a good arm. He was a Buster Posey Award winner too at the catching, department.
Yeah, so that just leave him at his spot. Yeah, you would somebody you don't want to really move around.
Yeah, he's actually gotten his bat better this past season compared to last year. His offense has looked really good compared to last year. So,
And that's
it's
something
gonna
we're
be tough.
lacking too. That's something we're lacking too. A catcher with an arm.
Yeah, arm and even fielding, I would say
Bat.
too. Like, when I meant by
too.
fielding, I meant by blocking.
Yeah.
So, if you're Houston, you're kind of like, man, who do you trade? I think for the Astros, you can trade Yannick, you can trade Miguel.
You can or you can.
You can't, I would say. My opinion, I don't think you can.
I mean,
unless you're going win now mode, like you're putting all the chips on the table with that risk.
It's
you're
risky,
in
bro.
a World Series team.
I'd say it's one or the other. But you're not keeping.
Oh, one or the other. Okay, yeah, I agree on that part.
But because they're gonna make a trade, they're not keeping both. I can tell you that right now. Like especially like if they're gonna get a guy that's gonna come up and do great things for the Astros. And if I'm Dan Brown, which I'm not. I'll give you Walker Yannick, but I'm not giving you Miguel Uyola just because I think Uyola brings more value. Pitchers bring more value just because of all the injuries that's going on. And maybe a guy like if you want to add maybe Kevin Alvarez. I know he's just he's not gonna be in the show for a long time to go, but he's shown great potential. AJ Blueball has shown he has major league experience. He can do something like that. You're looking at maybe Jose Fleury, who's on the come up too. So you're looking at guys Nelmer Ochoa too. So I mean, you got guys that you can probably make it a little bit more appetizing without adding Miguel Uyola there.
Real quick, let me add. This is the Astros top prospects as of right now. Bryce Matthews 1, Jacob Melton 2, Walker Yannick 3, Miguel Uyola at 4, Anderson Brito at 5, Ryan Ferrucci, right-handed pitcher at 6, Kevin Alvarez, wow, already at 7, which he's done really well. Yeah, Ethan Pecos, right-handed pitcher at 8, AJ Blueball at 9, and Luis Baez at 10. Joseph Sullivan just recently got promoted too from Double A to Triple A. So a name that I can see that can be potentially leaving would be Luis Baez. I mean, he's done really decent, really well. He has power too. But that's a name that could be potentially out the door. Maybe a Jose Fleury, like Angel mentioned. Pedro Leon, in my opinion, I think the Astros had a shot to trade him last year.
Yeah, he ain't got nothing for him.
Yeah, you had the best chance to trade him last year. So right now he's dealing with an injury. He's trying to come back up. So
maybe Santos too, and that can be another one you can throw out there.
Alex Santos. Let's see where he's at. Yeah, he's like around the 20s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, man, it's gonna be tough for Houston to try to find some guys to try to sell, man.
And this is like the downside of winning, like the Astros have had. That usually when teams are struggling, they can load up on prospects for trading those big guys. But the Astros have been on win mode for like 8 years now, and it's
like always making little risky moves and getting rid of guys that you don't want to see go.
Yeah, so they're not really like again, that's another reason why they don't have a whole like these big name prospects, just because they're winning so much too.
Yeah. One thing, the prospect that we did talk about Miguel. So his line was 5 and 1/3 no hit innings, 11 Ks, but he did have 5 walks, which is kind of bad. But
You can deal with that though.
yeah, you could deal with that. He had 22 swings and misses.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's somebody that Dana Brown loves his pitching. So
Yeah,
I think he might hold off on that one, but I'm pretty
I'd
sure. I'm pretty sure the other guy is probably on the table.
I'd be real surprised because but like you said, so like you brought that up, prospect or prospects, like you don't know if Forrest Whiteley was gonna do what you got to do, but right now Miguel Wheeler looks. You can't compare that prospect, compare Forrest Whitley to Miguel Wheeler. I think talent wise, yeah, it was probably there, but when did Forrest Whitley ever show that potential? Like
Yeah,
when did like you said, Taylor Trammell was the number one pick. Like really, when did he show that? And I think right now, Miguel shows. I think he's probably showing that he's major league ready, very soon. So and that's kind of hard to trade that guy.
Another guy that the Astros signed in the international player pool, which I always find that amazing that Houston, even though with their draft picks, Houston always finds a way to do a really good job when it comes to the international
international.
pool in the wintertime. So that was another guy that they got during that time with Miguel Uloa in that part. I did want to just bring this up real quick. I know we're not going to talk a lot about, but Chad Rowan, the Athletic, of course, covering the Astros, predicted that the Astros would acquire Arizona Diamondback pitcher and Houston native, not to mention Merrill Kelly. So, like Esteban had mentioned earlier, this is a quote from his article. He said, "They may not have enough prospect capital to land Merrill Kelly, a Houston native, in the final year of his contract, but if owner Jim Crane covets a splashy name while contemplating whether to cross into the luxury tax, Kelly fits the bill." So I think Houston does need, like, they really need to find another starter because you never know. That's a backup plan just in case you can't, if Javier and all them other guys don't come as planned back into their rehabs and back into the rotation. Merrill Kelly, especially a guy that's a veteran too.
Um,
So
I think they were throwing out what's his name too. You probably take a look at Seth Lugo.
Seth Lugo is another guy that's done
Yeah,
really well with Kansas City. So I mean, right now, Kelly, 8.5 record, 3.34 ERA. Not a bad name to look at if you're Houston, but if the number one priority right now is a left-handed hitter, left-handed bat, then go after it. But if you're gonna try to land a guy like Merrill Kelly, who has that stat line, shit, I think you might have to go starter.
if you go
Yeah.
left-handed bat, I say you go after Brendan. Like if you're gonna spend money on somebody, you go after Brendan Donovan
Brendan Donovan.
because he could play second, he could play third, and he could play outfield. So that's somebody you need the versatility to move around too, as well with the way that the Astros have this team building and then injuries. So somebody you shift around.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
Yeah, so of course we're gonna have you covered for trade deadline as well when we get closer to it. Like I said, 11 days away, so we'll definitely be your number one source when it comes to trying to find the teams that can be engaging with the Astros and trade talks and all that good stuff. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and you tune in. But we got that pitching preview coming up because my gosh, an hour and 18 already in the books. Jesus, yeah, Angel, you
If
want to
I,
go through this real quick?
it's a lot to talk about, honestly. But
You could just
the
say the
Astros,
pitching matchups if you want.
I can just go ahead and say
Yeah.
I can say it. The Arizona again, 50-50 record, fourth in the NL West, 6-4 in their last 10 games. They are 8 games back of the AL West too. But you know, pitcher preview you got Colton Gordon versus Zach Allen, and Gordon, like I said, came out the bullpen in a relief role for Texas, so he might be, getting ready for that once the healthy pitchers are. But he is 3-2 with a 4.67 ERA. Before his relief role in his past two outings, this is prior to the All Star break as well, and two consecutive starts before his relief role, he pitched 9.4 innings, pitched 16 hits, 9 runs, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. So it wasn't pretty back-to-back outings, and that could be the reason why he was coming off the relief role. So it's going to be interesting how he comes back, and after this All-Star break, he'll be going against Zach Allen. Who, when you hear that name, Zach Allen, you're thinking about a guy who was almost won a Cy Young, a guy who's been really, really good for years, but this year's hasn't been that. He's had a 7-10 record, 5.40 ERA, which if you would have told me he would have had that at the beginning of the season, I would think you're crazy. Zach Gallen's a great pitcher, but just not, it's not his year today. Against the Angels, he did pitch five innings, 8 hits, 600 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. But just to give you a taste of what's really going on with Zach Gallen, this is the past 3 years. In 2022, he was 12-4 with a 2.54 ERA. 2023, 17-9 with 3.7 ERA, and last year 2024, 14-6 with 3.65 ERA. So Zach Gallen is really taking a step in the wrong direction. His pitch mix doesn't include a fastball, knuckle curve, changeup, slider, cutter, and sinker. And the reason for this change is that his knuckle curve is being not has been effective. It's getting hit a lot. It's kind of hard to control that, in which in turn hitters are leaning more to that fastball and just waiting on that pitch and doing a lot more damage on that.
Yeah, very shocked on the Gallon stats. I mean, already first time in 3 years he hasn't gotten 10 losses. He looks like he might be going into double-digit wins again for 4 straight seasons. But man, that this kind of helps if you're a team looking to buy for starting pitching with that record and that ERA. Maybe you could try to convince the Diamondbacks. Maybe Esteban's right. Maybe if you're the Astros, maybe you can try to convince the Diamondbacks like, hey, he's looking like deep value.
Looking washed
this season. Yeah, there might be a shot that the Astros could find a way to get him, but yeah, very shocking to see what he looks like so far this season.
Yeah. Did you want to say anything, Seven?
Yeah, this is just a good matchup right here. Gallen has been struggling, so don't be the example and don't let them get back on track with you. So the bats, this is a good one for especially the new guys. Somebody that still is pretty disgusting, but he hasn't been all there. He's still being able to get tagged up. So this is somebody the guys want to ambush.
Absolutely. And, for the Astros, my things get, the same kind of picture you get it Tuesday, 8:40 start time, Fernando Valdez versus Eduardo Rodriguez, lefty versus lefty matchup. Valdez is 10-4 with a 2.75 ERA. Again, was supposed to pitch against the Mariners, but was opted to give him a little bit few extra days, which I'm sure Fernando Valdez appreciates that. Again, could have been an all-star, but I'm sure he's glad he's resting as well. Versus Texas, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned 1, 0 walks, 10 strikeouts, 94% on the fastball value. I know that I got to really go into deep a pitch mix with the actual pitch. We see it every time, but just to give you some, background on how effective Valdez has been on his fastball. Opponent batting average is 254 on his fastball. He has a 10.9 whiff percentage and 19.6 put away percentage. On his curveball, again, it's been deadly. It's been great. 0.193 opponent batting average, 43.7 whiff rate on that pitch, and 30.5 put away pitch. He'll be going against Eduardo Rodriguez, who has very opposite numbers as Fernando Valdez, 3-6 with 5.94 ERA versus San Diego. He did pitch 4 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. His pitch mix includes a fastball, changeup, cutter, sinker, slider, and curveball. But it hasn't been a season for Eduardo Rodriguez. I'm sure he's ready to get this season done with because it hasn't been great. Again, when we talk about run percentile, it's from 1 to 100, and pitching run value for Eduardo Rodriguez 1, off-speed run value 1 as well.
Hasn't been really good for him this season.
Yeah, and that's out of 100. Yeah,
injuries though too.
Yeah. But again, usually when we talk about a guy like this has not been producing, is typically a recipe for the Astros. But again, these are two games that the Astros could easily take advantage of struggling pitchers.
Yeah, it's a little risky one too, though, because you got Eugenio Suarez. He's pretty hot right now. You got Josh Naylor.
He's hurt, right?
No, he's not hurt. He's hurting.
Oh.
He's hurting. He
got hit in the arm. He got hit in the hand. So.
Number 1 trade deadline guy, I would say. I know the Mariners and Yankees are like the top teams looking into him.
Yeah, that honestly, I'm surprised the Astros didn't get him because that's somebody that I did like too as well, Gino. But you still got Perdomo. You got Corbin, who's doing pretty good this year with the switch stance. He switched up his hand.
Yeah.
You got Josh Naylor. Can't forget about Gurriel. Can't forget about Marte Parte. So I mean, you got some guys there. Don't be slept on.
Will he be back?
I'm not sure. He's on the restricted list right now.
Yeah, because I think someone broke into his house during the All-Star break.
Oh, so he probably could be back, possibly. I mean, he had a couple of days already, so he possibly could be back. But
and they're in Arizona too, so yeah.
this guy, but Eduardo, he does throw a lot of stuff in the zone, and he has pretty good control of his stuff. So, I mean, this is a guy that he's going to be in your face with all his pitching and stuff, and just got to see what you want. He's going to spam sliders, going to throw a lot of sinkers, and probably going to throw a lot of curveballs to lefties. So, don't be fooled.
Yeah,
The
and
ERA might be a little high, but I mean, just don't be that team
Yeah,
that
we always preach this on this show. Don't get fooled by the damn ERA and
yeah,
how
and then
bad
they go
people
big.
hit
They have like their best start all season.
against
yeah,
Houston. Yes, it's
yeah.
always been a recipe for that.
There's still major league pitchers. They can still probably strike all of us out for sure, and I'm sure they can strike major league hitters
I
out
was
too. So
freaking doubt they can do that. What the hell?
Yeah, and, I mean, Eduardo has a lot of moving pieces. I mean, talk about cutter, you're talking about sinker, slider, curveball, change of drop in, fastball going up. So I mean, a lot of
did you
looking up and down.
did you see those questions that they're being asked at the All-Star break? Is an average person how many at bats would take to hit like I guess a home
Oh,
run
yeah.
off
I
a
think
major league
someone
pitcher?
said none out of 100, and one of them said probably foul it off out of 100. I mean, a guy like me, I'm just gonna go out there and bunt the dang ball.
Hell no, I'm gonna try to go. I'm gonna try to hit.
Yeah.
I don't know
I'm trying
how
to go
far.
yard, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna try to find.
But if you were sitting under a rock while we were doing the podcast earlier today, you probably missed that. The Astros starting pitcher for Wednesday is TBD, to be determined. It is Walter's turnaround, the rotation. However, I don't know. I mean, he is coming off a great start, so it's kind of weird for me to see that TBD. I don't know if they're trying opting to give him more rest. I don't know if they're anticipating, uh, you know, I'm saying like Arrighetti maybe coming back, or I don't know. It's gonna be Gusto, there too. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. We'll, once we find out who the starter is, we'll let you know on that end. But they go ahead.
No, I
What
was
you
like,
guys?
damn, you got Eric Getty coming back. That's pretty
That's
damn
pretty
No,
good.
good. That's pretty
I'm
quick.
just saying. I don't know. I don't know.
We
Could
wish.
be. But they will be going against Brandon Fat. Brandon Fat again. I think he's been one of the best pitchers for the Arizona Diamondbacks since late. He's 10-6 with a 4.82 ERA. He is his last start before the All Star break. He did go 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, 6 strikeouts. Again, he ended the first half of the season on a great note, so he's been dialed in. Comes in with a fastball, sweeper, sinker, changeup, curveball. And Cutter is ranked 88th percentile on fastball running body too. He's gonna be bringing the heater a lot, so that's just gotta be ready to hit it.
I don't know if y'all saw what real quick before we move on because we do need to move on. Brandon Fat has like the second highest wins or something. I saw some tweet like that, and it was comparing that to Paul Skeens, who has the second lowest wins by a major league starter. And when you look at that, Paul Skeens being Paul Skeens, and then you have Brandon Fat who has that. That's the beauty of this game, beauty of baseball.
So I think the Astros only seen Fat once in 2024, and he gave up 4 runs, 8 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts in 4.2 innings. And I mean, the way that Fat's been pitching lately is not going to be a lot of strikeouts. I mean, highest he'll probably have is 7, but he will strike you out. Don't be fooled. He's just a young cat. Has a lot of stuff they could throw at you. So, I mean, everybody's just this whole matchup right here is just pretty good matchup as well. Just under the radar, they can still carve you up. Don't let the ERAs fool you.
And I guess moving on to our injury update. Again, we just said the Astros have 16 players on the IL. It's a long list, but I'm just gonna say the ones that people might want to hear. So I'm gonna skip through some too, just for time constraints. I'll start off with Spencer Arrighetti. Again, broken right thumb through 35 pitch live BP on July 13th. He is scheduled to report to Double A Corpus Christi this week. Going with Luis Garcia again on Monday. He's continuing his rehab assignment in the Florida Complex League. He is scheduled to report in Single A Fayetteville this week. Christian Javier made his first rehab assignment in FSO on July 12th. Scheduled to continue rehab assignment tonight, actually. I'm sorry, that was Friday with Double A Corpus Christi. So we'll give you those stats for Friday stats as well. Jordan Alvarez started swinging a bat yesterday, so that's good news because that's what he's been lacking. and is in Seattle with the team to open the road trip again. You saw, I don't know, Stevan mentioned that even Jordan Alvarez will stand up. The thing I don't know if so Stevan, but they said that. And then Jeremy Pena again traveled to Florida, to continue hitting and running and throwing progression. And Jake Myers is rehabbing still in Houston. So, like, those are guys that have been made the biggest impact this season, and unfortunately they're hurt. But just to give you some background on how Christian Javier's rehab assignment went with Corpus Christi. Again, this was July 18th on Friday. In his outing, he allowed 1 run on 2 hits and 2 walks with 3 strikeouts in 3 innings. And like I always say, when it comes to rehab assignments, you're not really too focused on the numbers. You're looking at two things: mechanics, comes out healthy, and as long as he's able to do that, he's it's a win for the Astros. Spencer Urquidy again also had a rehab assignment with Corpus Christi. This was Saturday, July 19th. In his outing, he allowed 1 hit and 3 scoreless innings for 4 strikeouts. Urquidy has been on the injured list, like I said, for a very long time, since April 7th for a broken right thumb. And Luis Garcia, rehab with Fayetteville. In his last outing, the right-handed pitcher allowed 2 hits and struck out 3 batters in 2 scoreless innings in the Florida Complex League on Monday, July 14th. Today, Garcia collected 2 strikeouts over 2 scoreless innings. He threw 23 pitches, 17 strikeouts. I like the strike efficiency there. Like being able to do rehab assignment, it's like you're just throwing, you just, it's like non-stress innings, right? So you're just focusing on coming out healthy, feeling good, and doing what you gotta do.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all saw. Shout out to Astros Future. I mean, he always has the clips of course, the prospects in the farm. But he did show the rehab of Luis Garcia. I don't know if y'all noticed, he has a different arm slot. If you look at the way
I
he's,
haven't looked at it.
yeah, if you go look at the video, it looks like a different arm slot from his angle of following through. So I think that could really be beneficial for his arm, especially from not pitching for almost 2 years, coming
Oh yeah,
back.
I see
So
what you're talking about.
yeah, so I wish I had the video on me and I would put it on right now. But yeah, if you haven't looked at that, that's on Astros Future on X. The video's on there, and you can see a difference on his arm slot compare from his time pitching with Houston.
Interesting. I mean, again, if that's going to help us stay healthy, then by all means, do what you gotta do.
But
Yeah,
I would say, go ahead with that one.
somebody needs to come over here to these Astros and pray over them with a huevo, like the way the Mexicans do it. Because it seems like they got bad luck on these guys. They got bad dirt on everybody. Everybody's just falling off the map right here,
Okay.
getting injured.
Okay, it's like he kind of short Thomas is a little bit of
Yeah, it's not that long, like
like
slot.
that David
Yeah,
Wells.
it's kind of
Yeah,
like
it's
cuts
kind
it
of like
close.
this, kind
Yeah,
of closer to your
Oh,
shoulder.
I don't know. That kind of looks weird.
Something different, but hey, maybe it works.
probably relieve the elbow a little bit, maybe.
Exactly, that too. But maybe he puts a little bit more
But
air to tear on your shoulder.
whatever helps them, helps them. But I mean, Astros need everybody to come back healthy in a hurry. If they want to potentially make it to the World Series, which a lot of people do see as not us, but see that Houston Astros being contenders in the World Series and being able to make it there again. But you need everybody to get back on track and be healthy again.
I will say this before we move on to the draft real quick. I just want to talk about this briefly. Angel did mention about Jake Myers rehabbing in Houston. I remember on the pregame show, if I'm not mistaken, the homestand against the Rangers, that Dana Brown said Jake Myers could be not ready for another 3 weeks. 3 weeks. That's literally after the trade deadline. So I think if you're the Astros, do you think, just real quick, that's why I said very briefly, do you think the Astros are going to go looking after a left-handed bat, but now he has to be an outfielder? And like Steban said, perfect example could be Brendan Donovan.
Yeah, could be. I mean, because Ben Donovan would make sense because then you have Isaac Perez, who I think will be out for like at least I'm estimating more than a month as well, so you can kind of plug him in there too. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see.
It's gonna be a little nail biting ride right here to see how the Astros play this one out with the trade deadline, who they're gonna get rid of, and who they're gonna acquire, and who they're gonna need to take on different roles here. So I mean, just stay tuned, and like Zoe says, stay tuned, tapped in. Full Steam got you with all the everything coverage.
Yeah, another name out there, Cedric Mullins. They did say that earlier in, I think it was like June, if I'm not mistaken, that the Astros are targeting. So yeah, just want to throw that real quick.
But this has been a long episode. Definitely record breaking for us right here on the time right here for us three. But Astros draft, and not just the draft, I wanted to bring up too. This is a draft that I believe 17 shortstops were drafted in the first round, which is the most I believe in draft history, which is a lot. Everybody loaded up on their shortstops, and to mention shortstop, Astros loaded up on a shortstop, Xavier Neans from Mount Vernon High School, which is a high school kid in Washington, goes first round for the Astros. Neans was the 2023-2024 Gatorade Washington Baseball Player of the Year and was committed to Oregon State. Neans is a left-handed hitting shortstop, batted 456 with 8 home runs and 27 RBI, leading the Mount Vernon to the Class 3A state championship this season, which they were victorious. Neans was rated the number 25 overall prospect by MLB.com in the 2025 MLB draft. He was named the 2023-2024 Gatorade Player of the Year after batting 455 with 34 runs, 16 stolen bases, and a 1.327 OPS. Astros selected 12 position players, 6 pitchers, and 1 two-way player. The Astros drafted 5 high school kids in this draft. I mean, guys, what do y'all think about Neans? I mean, I seen something about he automatically became our number one prospect.
I mean, the pop is there. When you look at him swing, Jesus, I mean, you can see the power on this left-handed kid. So, and he's a shortstop too, which is very interesting to see what Houston now goes with Jeremy Pena. Of course, you remember recently we had discussed Ari Alexander had mentioned too, being the source that they were in discussions of a contract extension. Well, Nance has played shortstop. He has played third. I've seen that he's played the outfield as well. So the kid could play. He's very athletic. He's like Cam Smith, I would say too. He can play infield or outfield.
And one thing that I did see is that he's a good pitcher too. But he's not going to go with the two-way, but he's a damn good pitcher as well.
So, I mean, the offensive production, you said the stats right there. It's very promising to see. And of course, the Dana Brown scouting guy that he is, I guess he saw something with names because I know me and Angel were talking offline during that time, and we were shocked that the Astros didn't go for Jace Laviolette, which was a preseason number 1 draft pick before the season had started. We're not saying that because we're Aggies, but because the Astros
left-handed bat.
Yeah, left-handed bat, outfielder as well that would fit for Houston if it was like a ready-to-play guy in the next 2 years. So drafting a guy like this has some pop, like I mentioned, has some good numbers, a high school kid too. So the developing is going to be it's going to be there. I mean, just think about last year. They drafted Walker Yonick and Sam Houston State. Well, this year they go for a high school player, which the Astros haven't done that since Kyle Tucker. And after Kyle Tucker, before him was Carlos Correa. So the Astros have had 2 of them really go in the right direction. Could Nance be the third guy?
And then something I want to throw on top too is Nance is 6'4", 210 at 18 years old. So I mean, you can probably see him grow a little bit more in height. And then whenever Astros do call him up, say it's to be in 3 to 4 years, this kid could probably be like 250, 260. I mean, who knows? He could be possibly 6'6".
God damn it, growth spurt at 18 years old. Shit.
Hey, you won't be surprised though. Some players do get growth spurt. I mean, they still get that last little stretch, but I mean, an inch.
Be Yao Ming numbers, bro.
Right?
Nah, they got the wrong sport.
People do grow. I mean, shit, Wembyama freaking grew, and from his next year.
But have you seen Wembyama hold a baseball bat?
Yeah, but I mean, whatever.
I just
whatever.
No, but I mean, very interesting that they picked a two-way player. That's been kind of a new thing since like Shohei Ohtani, created. So that's very interesting to see. But I do want to mention, imagine you're a kid from California, have to, get out of algebra class and face Corona High School, who had 3 first-rounders, draft pick. Might as well just, fake an injury after that, because good luck beating that team.
Yeah, and then the Rockies snag up Ethan
Holiday.
Ethan Holiday too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was on the press conference though when they introduced Nayans. Just some quotes that I had put on X. There's a quote from Nance. He was talking about what he knows about the Astros when Chandler Rome had asked. Quote from him: "I know they whip the Mariners every year in the AL West. Not to mention, like Steban had mentioned, he's from Washington, so knowing probably more than likely he was a Mariners fan. But yeah, that was from him. And of course, being a commit to Oregon State, one of the best baseball programs in college baseball. He actually mentioned that he was going to end up signing with Houston, so he will not be playing college baseball for the Oregon State Beavers, and he'll be headed to the FCL, Florida Complex League, pretty soon. I'm guessing.
There you go.
Yeah, he probably be. I wouldn't be surprised too. This is a kid that might move fast through the farm system as well.
Yeah, he's very. You could just see the determination of this kid. Like he's very hardworking. He was already out there in Seattle too. He met with Joe Spotted, probably with some of the players. I know he met with Cam Smith too during that time. So, man, I think this kid could be a really good pick for the Astros.
I had also checked in on his social media too on Instagram, and this kid really wants to sharpen his craft. Like, I mean, he's lifting in the gym, he's batting, he has all kinds of footage on his pages of, a lot of things that he does to get better.
Yeah, we do got some comments coming in. They're banger. I wouldn't trust anyone with updates, but y'all, Kevin, appreciate that. And then he also followed up by saying, "Just got to the hotel, Canada apartment maybe the last hour and a half go way better because I was getting tired." Drive safe, Kevin. I'm glad you stopped. Don't get in an accident. But yeah, drive safe. Have a nice road trip.
But yeah, that is the end of our show. Jesus. So now we're at 41 minutes. We better not get to 2 hours. I swear to God, we get to 2 hours. We are cutting this. We're cutting the episode out. But hey, like Kevin had mentioned, if you want to listen to us on the road, like he was going on the road again, like our boy Willie Nelson, we're there. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube as well. Subscribe to that channel. Notification bell. Make sure you ring that thing. Then you won't miss the interviews that we got rolling in from All-Star Week. So just being able to do that, you won't miss the reels, you won't miss the shorts, you won't miss these interviews. So be sure to lock in. Real quick question: do you guys see us getting Eugenio Suarez during the trade deadline takeover? That is huge, but no, I do not see that happening.
The Yankees are offering 5+ prospects.
As well, I think that's what the Arizona Diamondbacks want.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good luck for the Astros.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. So, but like I said, with the YouTube, we'll also put some shorts and reels from TikTok, Instagram, FSA Full Steam Ahead, and Twitter. Boys, anything else before we sign off?
This was a long-awaited fun one. I had a good time. We had a good turnout of people that showed up in the comments. Appreciate every single one of y'all giving y'all valuable time. When time is money, and everybody doesn't like wasting time. So I sat here out and listened to our beautiful voices. Thank you once again. Y'all stay safe. Y'all have a good week, and also y'all stay hydrated for my Houston people because it's ringing 99 across the temperature this week. So
yeah.
100 on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's gonna be a hot one.
Yeah, wife's cutting, gotta go.
We'll leave y'all with this beautiful picture. If you weren't here in the beginning of the show, our own Cantu did catch the junior Caminero ball.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Other than that, we'll lead you.
Bro, why do you have a cup on? You're just doing media.
We'll leave y'all with that picture. Angel's wife's probably enjoying that picture too, seeing him smile with that ball. But until then, like Steban said, y'all stay hydrated, stay safe this week, and we'll talk to y'all with that recap of the Arizona Diamondbacks and get you ready for that preview against the Sacramento Athletics. But till then, stay safe. Shout out Angel. Rip pants.